All right, we're going to go right back to Washington, D.C., as we must, to talk to Congressman Byron Donalds of the great state of Florida. Byron, welcome back to the show. Happy New Year. Why did you vote for Jim Jordan? I thought you were for Kevin McCarthy.
Well, look, I voted for Kevin on the first two ballots, and it's just not clear that he has the votes. It's pretty clear now, and it's getting tougher in that room. Look, do I think Kevin has an ability to maybe get there? Yeah, but there's a lot of work to be done. And I think just if you're going to ask members to vote over and over and over again to try to wear people down, I think it actually has the opposite effect. My view has been for us to call a recess, get in a room, figure it out, have those conversations, and then go back to the floor, when we know we have somebody prepared to get 218. But it's not Kevin McCarthy right now, and quite frankly, it doesn't look like it's anybody. So we should not be on the floor voting. That is my point, and that's where I think we should be going. And with respect to Jim Jordan, I think Jim will make actually a tremendous speaker. He will be a very good person to represent House Republicans to do the job on behalf of the American people.
Well, Jim Jordan is a brilliant conservative and good at anything he tries to do. He is a very dear friend of mine for several decades, so I understand that. But he nominated McCarthy on the second ballot. I don't know that Jim is really running. I mean, listen, Byron, you are a great friend. You're a great friend of the show. I'm just concerned, not for you per se, but for some others, that this is about personalities and not about policies. Because I think Kevin McCarthy is certainly a conservative record, who's brought the Republican House up the last two cycles. So I'm just not sure I see the case against him. And he's given you, I don't know if he's given it to you, what your request was, but he has acceded to at least one demand, and that is with 5 Republican votes on the floor, they'll vacate the chair and have a vote of no confidence. So I just, you tell me, Byron, what's the case against McCarthy at this point?
Well, I haven't asked Kevin for anything. Like I said, I voted for him on the first two ballots. But at the end of the day, you got to close the deal. I mean, this is nothing new. There's been disagreements about could he get to 218 votes on the floor for 2 months now. And so the biggest issue is if you can't close this deal, at what point do members start looking elsewhere? Because we do have to organize Congress, we do have to elect the Speaker of the House, but you have to have 218 votes. It's not just about having a majority of the Republican conference. It's having a majority of the committee of the whole, which is the full body. So you have to get there. And so I think right now he's not there. So you have to start looking at alternatives. Look, when I was in business, if you couldn't get the deal done, you got to go look somewhere else. That's not a personal slight against Kevin McCarthy. That's the reality of what's unfolding on the House floor right now. I believe we should be taking a recess to go and speak as members and figure this thing out and then come back in and have another round of ballots. But to continuously vote after vote after vote like this is not, I think, in the best interest of the Republican conference right now.
Byron, is this third ballot over? Is it completed?
No, it's actually happening right now as we speak.
How many, maybe you can give us just like a play-by-play for a football game or baseball, how many nay votes does Mr. McCarthy have at this point?
The last number I saw was maybe 6, 7, right, which already puts you in the negative column, and I think they were only halfway through the alphabet, so there was more to go. Look, at the end of the day, do I believe Republicans are going to figure this out? Of course. We are going to elect the Speaker. We're going to get that work done. But I think it's important for the American people to understand that unlike the Democrats who just do leadership by acclamation, we are actually having a deliberative process about what leadership looks like in the House of Representatives. We know Washington does not work. So having that deliberative discussion, which in some parts is messy at times, is in the long term in the best interest of America and of the body of the House of Representatives.
I don't have a problem with it. As I was talking to Newt Gingrich earlier on the show, Byron, you're all going to be front page news. And that's kind of a cool thing. That's not what Joe Biden wants. All of a sudden, the rest of the country and the rest of the world will see Republicans taking over the House again, and they will elect a fine speaker, leader at some point, whoever it may be, and you mean business. I don't think Joe Biden wanted you to have this publicity at all. I see a lot of good coming out of this. How about that?
Well, look, I think you make really valid points. Obviously, a lot of the big media, the other networks, they like saying, "Oh, Republicans, it seems like they can't govern," and all this nonsense. That's not true at all. I think when you have real divisions and discussions, and you got to have debates, and you got to find ways to come together, that's a good thing. That's actually what Congress is supposed to be about. It's supposed to be a deliberative process, not where everybody is everything is done by acclamation or there are coronations. And again, that's not against Kevin. I think Kevin has done a tremendous job as leader. But what's happening today, which is something we've known now for about 6 weeks, is he doesn't have the votes to get to 218. So the biggest question for the Republican conference is who can get the votes to get to 218?
So your point is let's take a recess after this ballot and regroup.
That's right.
I don't see anything wrong with that. I would think many of your colleagues might agree. It could be worse, Byron. In 1856, it went 133 ballots, 1856. So it could be worse.
Yeah, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that many ballots. I promise you that.
Byron Donalds from the great state of Florida. Thank you, sir. All best of luck and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Anytime.